Property owners locally fear their insurance premiums will skyrocket based on preliminary flood maps. U.S. Senator David Vitter is asking FEMA to back down from those initial assessments. In fact, he wants the maps for some parishes in South Louisiana revoked, and he joins us now in studio with the latest on where this issue stands. Good morning.
Good to be here, Liz.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Sure.
Well, I'm glad, like elected officials keep coming in and keep us up to date, because
Absolutely.
the fall is when this is supposed to take effect, right? The bigger it's water?
Yeah, it depends on the parish, because when these new maps hit has an impact on that, and that's why FEMA's recent action regarding 3 new maps is significant. So it's a little more complicated than that, but it certainly could start in the fall. The good news is we're making a lot of progress to delay that and fix the situation to avoid any outrageous rates.
So before I get to what's the reaction so far from FEMA, what fundamentally is a flaw that they've got in these maps? What did they not take into consideration when they released this?
Well, when we were debating this new version of flood insurance a year ago, no expert, FEMA, outside industry, insurance industry, no one predicted that rates could get this high. Now all of a sudden they're saying the rates could go that high. And they have to be affordable for middle-class families. I mean, these are families who've played by the rules every step of the way. They built their house to the right elevation at the time. They can't retroactively be given a bill for a rate that's not just an increase. You know, an increase is one thing, but that's unaffordable for a middle-class family. That's unacceptable, and that's what we're going to stop and working to resolve.
Right, and it's not just for families, that an entire area, the business may not be able to afford the insurance to operate. They may not go to that area, they may move out. So what is FEMA Administrator Craig Fugate saying about this, and what are some of your congressional colleagues saying?
The latest thing to happen is FEMA just released 3 new maps after, on May 9th, they met with me and parish presidents and said they wouldn't release new maps until they got certain things right about the mapping process. First of all, they have this so-called LAMP process that they're still in the middle of to figure out how to properly take account of non-accredited levies. Secondly, they haven't fully figured out how to take into account other flood control features. So we simply said, time out, don't release new maps until you figure out how to map things right, how to get it right. They agreed with that on May 9th. Then the next thing we heard, they're releasing new maps. And I wrote Craig Fugate, I talked to his assistant yesterday and said that's just outrageous.
I don't understand how they could not have step 1 before they got to step 2. How does that happen?
You and me both. It's sort of a bureaucratic mindset. That's why we had the meeting on May 9th. That's why we said don't release new maps until you figure out A, B, C, and D, which have to go into the new maps. And they agreed with that, and they agreed to consulting with local government in a very meaningful way. Then didn't hear anything until 10 days ago, released new maps. Okay.
So, South Louisiana, this is not the only place that deals with flooding issues. So what's the congressional support? What are your colleagues saying?
Well, the good news is that more and more folks realize this is a major national issue, has an impact in every state. It's not some parochial South Louisiana issue. Because of that, Bill Cassidy and our House delegation was able to pass language in an appropriation bill several weeks ago that basically said time out for 1 year. No new rates, no rate increases, time out for 1 year. We're trying to get that same language in the Senate and then go even further and fix the situation.
Okay, so here we are. We're getting, we're a ways away, but pretty soon we're going to be in the peak of hurricane season. It could get crazy around here. What do you say to people knowing that these rates could go up? What target date should they be looking at when we'll have some answers from you and Craig Fugate and others?
Well, hopefully by the fall. Look, it's not done till it's done. But I am very hopeful, based on all of our collective work in the last 2 months, that we're going to get a pause and then we're going to fix this. And the action in the House, which is the more conservative body, which is where it would be more uphill, the fact that Bill Cassidy got that language passed in the House is very good news and very hopeful. So it's not done till it's done, but I'm hopeful. But this latest stint out of FEMA is very, very frustrating.
Yeah, because some of the figures I'm hearing, what are some of the crazy figures in terms of the increase going from what to what?
Oh yeah. I mean, you hear figures of rates going to $20,000, $25,000 a year, things that are clearly unaffordable for middle-class families. But I'm hopeful we're going to avoid that.
Okay, it's a hot button issue, a huge issue here. Thank you for keeping us
Thank
up
you,
to
Liz.
date and staying in touch on this.